Competition in the home lending market is heating up as the housing market cools. Comparison website Canstar says 18 lenders have cut variable rates since May to attract new customers. Falling mortgage rates come after the RBA's 3 rate hikes with the possibility of a further move up. Canstar's Data Insights Director Sally Tindall joined me. Sally Tindall, welcome to the business.
Thank you for having me, Alicia.
Is the return of the mortgage wars that we saw 2 to 3 years ago here?
Look, it's not here in the full force that it was in 2022, 2023, where, lenders were handing out discounts, rate cuts, fee waivers, cashback, like a bursting piñata at a kid's birthday parties. There were sweeteners everywhere back then because the rates were on the rise, but banks were handing out discounts in order to lure in new business. Those mortgage wars are long gone, but in recent weeks, I'm talking about the last 8 or 9 weeks, we've started to see glimmers of hope where 18 lenders on the Canstar database have cut at least one variable rate for new customers only. This shows us that there's signs of life in the mortgage market, but not quite the levels of 2022.
Yeah, and I mean, in a rising interest rate environment, or at least we know the RBA is not cutting any time soon, still sounding pretty hawkish, lenders are cutting mortgage rates. What's driving the competition?
What we're seeing with this ramp up in competition is it's actually the smaller lenders that are leading the way. They're having to fight tooth and nail in order to lure customers away from those big banks, away from, their safety net, in order to get new business in the door. And they're doing it with rate reductions because that's what customers ultimately need.
How much of a factor do you think the budget tax changes have been in, eroding demand for new loans? We know the housing market sort of stalled, and anecdotally, Westpac said investor mortgage applications had fallen 20% in the 3 weeks post the budget.
Yeah, look, it's been really interesting. We've started to see property prices really take a slide now, particularly in places like Sydney and Melbourne. Now, that's not going to have a huge impact on, the loan books of the big banks, for example. You look at the latest APRA data for monthly home loans, and you can see that it really is still growing, 0.5% in the latest data, which is for May. So we're not seeing signs of that in the data just yet. But what is probably keeping the banks up at night is the fact that the buying market has frozen in fear of what might come. How far will these prices drop? What will be the full impact of the government's changes? Clearance rates, you only have to look to them to see that there's so many people sitting on the sidelines for now, just seeing how this will all unfold. That's going to have the banks worried.
What kind of deal should borrowers be looking for when they're taking out a home loan?
Yeah, okay. Well, for anyone that's taking out a new loan or any existing borrowers, let's be clear, the average variable rate right now for an owner-occupier is 6.26%. That's our estimates of RBA data. But a competitive rate is still under 6%. It should have a 5 in front of it. Yes, that's a stretch target, but no, there are 41 different lenders on our database offering at least one variable rate under that 6% mark. There is one big bank in there in Westpac, but a lot of them are the smaller lenders. So if you want that kind of rate, you're going to have to consider breaking up with your big bank, moving to a lender that you might not have heard of.
So you have to be a new customer. How long do you expect this sort of competitive environment to last?
Yeah, it's really difficult to tell. We do expect it to remain at these levels, possibly ramp up a little bit in the weeks ahead, particularly with the cash rate setting where it is. It's unlikely to be going down anytime soon. We could even see another rate hike coming round the corner, but let's be clear, we don't have a crystal ball here. So I would say use the competition now while it's there.
Sally Tindall, good advice. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.